It's a nice night to face White Death. It's a nice night to ride the Bullet Train. Bullet Train was directed by David Lych, who did Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. Comes to us courtesy of the writer of Fear Street Part 2, 1978, the high watermark of that Netflix original series. And this cast is fucking loaded. If you saw the trailer, you saw a lot of goddamn people crammed into that little bitty amount of time where you're like, holy shit, I gotta see this. You get that entire cast together, some up-and-coming actors, some great character actors, a big-name actor like Brad Pitt, and even a musician, and just throw them on a bullet train, and 126 minutes just fly on by, or does it fly on by? You gotta watch the rest of the review to find out. Some of the cast members are cameos that will be saved for the spoilers section. So, the cast, such as it is, Brad Pitt, Joey King, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Andrew Koji, Hiroyaku Sanada. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm really sorry if I pronounced any of these foreign names wrong. Michael Shannon, Bad Bunny, Logan Lerman, Zazie Beetz, Masaoka, Karen Fukuhara, and boy, she's fucking beautiful. Emelina Adams, and then some other cameos I'll talk about here in a little bit. So basically, a bunch of assassins are on a bullet train. Makes sense, because otherwise, why would you be on anything other than a bullet train in a movie called fucking Bullet Train? It's not fucking Bullet Train. That's the Cinemax version that'll be coming out at some point. Do they even still do movies like that on Cinemax? Skinemax After Dark. Nevertheless, 5 assassins are on, various missions. Some for revenge, some to get a prize, some to just complete a mission, whatever. But they find out that all their stuff is intertwined, and then everybody has to figure out who's really the one that they can trust. Can they trust anybody? Will they just continue to kill each other? Will they just continue to inflict damage and somehow not alert the meager amount of staff on this goddamn bullet train? There are seriously only like maybe 2-3 people that seem to be working on this whole fucking thing. And will they just destroy the goddamn thing? What will they do? Will they go out for coffee later? What will these assassins do from all walks of life? So basically, when I saw this trailer, I'm not going to say I wasn't sold on it, but I was like, okay, this looks decent, I guess. I like Brad Pitt in enough movies. I appreciate his work, going back to Interview with the Vampire, and even though there have been some issues with some big blockbusters he's done, oh, hi, World War Z, I didn't fucking see you there. God, that movie just butchered, anything that it built up after the goddamn great opening fucking sequence. That was really great. The first 20 or so minutes were great. And speaking of which, this movie opens up hot. It opens up well with Brad Pitt's character Ladybug, who's an assassin with a bit of a conscience. He has a bit of a conscience. He's trying to he's been doing therapy and everything. He's talking to somebody that's his voice of reason, so to speak, in an earbud, that he somehow manages to sync up to various cell phones throughout the movie. And he's basically got to get a briefcase, and he's got to get off the goddamn train and get this briefcase to somebody. Why has he got to get this briefcase? Who the fuck knows? The goddamn spy movie. And then there are other spies and assassins and various people from all walks of life that are trying to either do something to have something to do with this briefcase or have something to do with a revenge plot. It's just a whole bunch of stuff they mix together and everything, and they give people little backstory, just like a little bit of an idea. Okay, that's how we're tying all this stuff together. We're going to make it like Snatch, The Gentleman, and other Tarantino movies, and we're going to human centipede them together, and we're going to make this epic. Okay, spoiler. And I'm not going to do the spoilers just yet, but a bit of a spoiler. They did not make it epic. This basically took the bare bones of all those movies I mentioned. Snatch, which was fucking tremendous, and Brad Pitt was also in that, and he was great. Hi, boxer, aren't you? That kind of stuff. I can't really do that accent. I apologize. And, some Tarantino movies that had life and energy and wit and great writing. And the writer of Fear Street Part 2, 1978, he was good for that. He wasn't good for this. It was really like they just skimmed the ideas, took a few bare-bone ideas off of all those movies I mentioned, and unfortunately didn't do anything good with them, didn't flesh them out. The writing is not very crisp. Brad Pitt is about the best here. Joey King, who I've loved since The Conjuring, and I wish he would get meteor parts and be in, and I'm not talking about being in space. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something she can sink her teeth into, because Wish Upon, Slender Man, The Princess, I believe she did some movie that's on Paramount Plus that I have to watch at some point. I haven't seen everything she's in, but I appreciate how she was great in that little role in The Conjuring. And I was like, okay, here's somebody that can, become a great actress when she grows up, and she's that good in that little bit of a part. And while she's good in the other movies she does, the writing just isn't up to her acting ability. And unfortunately, this movie is another notch on that list. And there are others that try to do comedy stuff, and we get, like I said, backstories, and we get other things going on. But none of this, they try to put it together, and it's all centered around this one particular villain called White Death. But then there are other people that are trying to they're just trying to carry out revenge for something like, they lost their family, they lost all this. It's like, it's a lot happening, yet nothing really happens. And that's the best way I can describe it. It's not very good. In fact, not very good would be kind of putting it mildly. I kind of hated this. And I hated it despite the fact that it's snazzy, it's stylish, but it's ultimately soulless. It doesn't have anything where it's like, oh, wow, I'm really, like, you don't need something great to make an entertaining movie. The Lost City fucking proved that. Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt. Those three made it work. I mean, there were others. Daniel Radcliffe made that work, but it had just enough of a twist to make it where the nearly 2-hour runtime flew by. It worked well. This doesn't have enough story to carry it through, so we have to get flashbacks, we have to get other stuff. And since it's in Tokyo, it's bright and colorful and energetic, but everything just blends together after a while. And once you see something happen a few times, you're like, okay, you're just repeating the same shit that you thought was funny the first time, and now it's testing everyone's patience. Now, I did see this Thursday afternoon / evening, and it wasn't necessarily full. I think there were maybe like 20 people, but it's a Thursday afternoon. I think this movie will end up pleasing some crowds, but ultimately it left me feeling kind of empty, and it was actually starting to annoy me. And I kept kind of checking my phone, not my watch, because I don't own a watch. I don't know too many people that own a watch that isn't an Apple Watch or a smartwatch. But this started to test my patience and started to really annoy me. And despite the fact that I like a lot of the cast that's in this, I don't feel that the writing, I don't feel the direction, I don't really feel that it was as good as they thought it was. And it was trying too hard to emulate Guy Ritchie movies and Quentin Tarantino movies without understanding you have to have the right ingredients. Not just a great cast, but you have to understand what you're doing. And I think that they just cherry-picked from those movies without getting that it really isn't going to come together unless you know what the fuck you're doing. And ultimately, this thing just gets stretched the fuck out. It gets stretched past 90 minutes. It should have only been 90 minutes. They try to make it epic. The fight scenes are okay. I don't know. There's like one a little bit later on in the film that's not bad, but it gets really, really sloppy with the CGI. It gets really, really sloppy with just like introducing and throwing people in and repeating scenes and doing all that. It gets very annoying. It gets very annoying, and it just shows that the characters are kind of stupid. For being elite assassins or great at their work, they're kind of idiots with how they get tricked by just simple things. So yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. You can check it out in theaters. You might end up enjoying it, but nevertheless, it's not the best movie. In fact, it might be one of the worst movies of the year, possibly, kind of, maybe, sort of. I'm not too sure yet, because we have to really see how the rest of the months play out. But this was really, really disappointing. This might be one of the most disappointing movies of the year, because I wanted to like this, but it got stretched out to its motherfucking limit. I am going to get into spoilers here. The spoiler section will be kind of short, though, because so much stuff swimming in my head. I'm just going to do the bare bones amount. But anyway, 3, 2, 1... and spoilers, that's your warning right there. Okay, so this whole White Death guy is played by Michael Shannon. And he, controls a big crime, syndicate. And it turns out that a couple characters, the Elder, played by Mr. Sonata, not to be confused with the New Japan Pro Wrestling star Sonata, and Kimura, their father and son. The Elder, obviously, the father of Kimura. That's how the Elder thing works. And they are trying to get revenge because Kimura's son was pushed off the roof. Who was Kimura's son pushed off the roof by? It turns out it was pushed off by Prince, played by Joey King. Joey King is trying to figure out a way to kill White Death, even though White Death, every time somebody tries to kill him, he uses the same weapon that they use to kill him. Whether it's a gun, whether it's a sword, whether it's poison, doesn't matter. He kills them. And she wants to get that. Meanwhile, there's a briefcase that has $10 million in it that is the ransom money that was going to be paid for the return of Logan Lerman's character. And then somebody whacks him. And he's in the charge of Tangerine and Lemon, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Johnson and the twins, Mr. Johnson and Henry, but they are considered twins because they grew up together. And I guess they try to have some funny banter. They try to make it kind of like Snatch, but it's not good. And then Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, just wants to get the briefcase and listen to his muse in the headset, which I'm going to spoil right now because it's the spoiler section, and fuck you, it's Sandra Bullock. And that's actually how Brad Pitt, got to be on the Lost City set, because she did his cameo, and he was like, okay, I'll return the favor and do this. And then Channing Tatum has a bit of a brief cameo. So yeah, the Bullet Train City. We built this Bullet Train City on lots of bad writing. And also Ryan Reynolds is in it for like a smidge. So yeah, everybody's trying to kill White Death, basically. Some for revenge, some for money, and White Death just is upset because his wife got killed, because he had to go take care of something after his entire operation got destroyed in Bolivia by Lemon and Tangerine. And they were hired by somebody to do this killing. Also, Bad Bunny's in it. Bad Bunny, yeah, the guy that is he's a rapper in the sense that I know he does music, but I don't understand a goddamn thing he says. That being said, he showed up in WWE and did a hell of a lot better than I thought he ever could, especially for a celebrity at WrestleMania 37. So my hat's off to Bad Bunny. He was also at the Royal Rumble earlier this year. He loves wrestling. I respect him for that, even if, again, I don't understand what he says. He is trying to kill somebody that may have had something to do with his wife dying. Because we get all these flashbacks. We get him, losing his mother, becoming, an assassin, getting a wife, but then everybody gets poisoned, everybody dies except him. He blames Brad Pitt. It turns out it's actually the Hornet, played by Zazie Beetz. Since it's in Japan, there's this giant plushy Hello Kitty knockoff toy that's actually her. She killed Logan Lerman's character, and that was using this snake venom. No, snake, no, step on snake. Oh yeah, there's a snake on a train. Yeah, the jokes are right there. It's a poisonous snake. And basically Brad Pitt's character ends up, compartmentalizing all this. Oh, we need to talk this out, but he ends up killing everybody. They try to make him bumbling like Channing Tatum's character. The thing is, Channing Tatum made it work better. Brad Pitt was as entertaining as he could be, but it still wasn't great. And it turns out also that Joey King's Prince is the daughter of White Death, and that's why she wants to kill him, because she always felt that he favored Logan Lerman's character, who's his son, over her. And she had rigged this gun to basically explode, backfire in his face, and she was going to use Kimura to do that. Not the Kimura lock, but Kimura was locked into this, ha ha ha. Yeah, that's about the best I can explain the plot with. Also, they get to where they go bonkers with the bullet train, and after everybody's off, they somehow manage, the assassins, this endless amount of assassins, good lord, it's like, it looked like there were only about 5 of them, and then there were about 50. They go on a runaway bullet train, after Lemon's character is killed, or I think it's, maybe it's Tangerine. One of them's killed. I don't remember which one's Lemon, which one's no, let's see, Tangerine was killed. Lemon is, Brian Tyree Henry. And he's upset because his brother got killed. Joey King, meanwhile, is playing the innocent schoolgirl and everything. It's kind of funny that she's in her early to almost mid-20s, and she has this many movies under her belt. So good on her for getting work. But again, she did the best she could in this role, but ultimately they made her kind of just like disappear for a while. And then, she's suddenly here. They end up crashing the train in a humorous fashion. People get severed, people get stabbed. The Elder and Kimura manage to the Elder manages to kill White Death, or almost kill him. Puts a sword like through his goddamn chest like this, yet somehow doesn't kill him. People are getting shot, killed, maimed, and whatever. And then everybody's off the train. Well, the Elder, Kimura, and Brad Pitt's Ladybug. And he did also manage to kill the Hornet by putting the needle of the snake venom in her neck, and she had accidentally given him, because he had switched it around, given him the anti-venom, and then he got bit by the snake, so that he was totally fine. And he's just killing everybody, or at least mostly everybody. And then so White Death ends up getting killed because he tries to use the gun that was supposed to backfire on him, and backfires, blows half his face off, and he dies. And then Joey King's like, now it's my turn and everything. It's my turn. During an earlier part, she's holding a gun. She gets hit by a truck. A little bit earlier, this is a credit sequence, or not mid-credit, but just like a minute into it. Lemon ends up flying off the goddamn train into a river and somehow survives, and then he hijacks a tangerine truck and runs her down and then just runs off. Sandra Bullock shows up and decides to be there for Brad Pitt's character. And then something wrecks the car and they have to walk back. And also he had a fascination with a Japanese toilet that was all fancy and everything because they have fancy toilets there, I guess. I just got to be honest, though, this was a mess and it wasn't entertaining. It was like close to almost... It wasn't quite as frustrating as The Bubble, but I really started to hate this movie because I'm like, this is just forced. This is forced comedy, forced action, forced emotion. None of it was any good. And again, it was just cherry picking all these ideas and everything. So I'm going to have to give it an F. It was not good. It was not good at all. That's all I got to say about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Charm Ritlin. I'll see you soon.